Yes. So The Lady of the Tree is a novel that I wrote between the ages of 9 and 12 to 13 years old. It didn't have much plot. It was just a bunch of people riding around frantically on horses for no conceivable reason. There was like a love story in there that never really materialized. But I was just absolutely obsessed with this world and creating these people. If I remember correctly, the hero's name was Democles Dershire, which I do not know how I came up with this. No personality on
Bring that name back. That's great.
It was just everything about it was terrible. I think that some of the people were Japanese, even though like it took place in England, and like why are they there? Like nothing about that was explained. There were like these mythical firebirds and this like twin sister who lives in a tree. Anyway, the most memorable thing about this book for me, besides the fact that I was so wholly obsessed with writing it, was that I read the whole thing on film to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, and then made my parents listen to all, I think it's like 7 hours of it. And they really diligently did that. So when I was talking about the fact that they were supportive, they were really supportive of this whole writerly thing. But of course, that book will never see the light of day. But I did have, I printed it, and I cut out pictures from magazines of like who would play my characters, even though there was no like movie version in my mind. And then on the back, I had quotes from my mom and my dad about how much like they loved the book. So, you know, if your mom loves a book, obviously that is a really strong indicator of success there.
The finest book I've ever read by my own progeny.
Yes.
The author's mom.
Exactly. I think I also made up the quotes too. That's the worst part. Like, I don't think that my parents actually said those things. I think that I just put words in their mouth there.
Well, that could be good training depending on who your publisher is later down the road.
You know, you never know. Never know.
So when did this go from a fun thing that you do to I know that this is a thing I'm going to do always, this is the thing I want to do with my life?
Yeah, I think that I always knew that this was what I wanted to do. It was just having the courage to tell that to myself, like actually out loud and to other people, and to understand that this was the thing that I wanted to do as a career and not just as a hobby. So originally, I was supposed to be a neurologist because I really do love science, and neurology is ultra fascinating, but I knew that it was just not for me. Like by my freshman year, I'd switched to American Studies and a major called Peace, War, and Defense. So like I went through a lot of incarnations. So first I was going to be a neurologist, and then I was going to be a counterintelligence specialist. And I had a professor who sat me down and he said, like, Carlie, you're actually really good at this. And what that means is that you are going to have to make life and death decisions for other people every day. Like, i.e., you will have to kill people. Are you okay with that? And I said, actually, no. So I write children's books now. And that was kind of the trajectory of that. So I switched to English when I was studying abroad so that no one knew about it. So I went to England and switched my major from Peace, War, and Defense to English with American Studies. And then after that, I went to Oxford with the goal of eventually becoming a professor, and I studied neo-slave narratives, which are contemporary narratives of slavery. So I was really interested in Toni Morrison and Natasha Trethewey specifically. And while I was wholly obsessed with that work, and I still think that it's extremely crucial, important work, I was getting very, very depressed if you are reading about slavery for 8 to 12 hours a day in a dark library, I don't know anyone who could actually be in that situation, who has a soul, and not be eventually kind of depressed by those readings. So every night at Oxford, after I had done all my research, I would come home and I would turn to YA books and children's books and books that had hope and that were just kind of cheery from start to finish, where bad things happened, but the bad things were overcome rather quickly and kind of in a neat, like tight with a bow way, even if they were potentially a little bit bittersweet. And I know I'm not describing all YA books and all children's books. Obviously, that's covering everything with a kind of a wide blanket. But I needed something in the evenings so that I could go to sleep. And that's how I turned to children's books. So